Tokyo Ghoul was a series that took the world by storm in 2014, with first its manga debut and then subsequent anime adaptation, followed by more manga and adaptations ever expanding the series. So how does the many tales of the struggles of ghouls and humanity stack up in a video game? Well, first, let's take a dive into the story that the game provides. Do note though, this game's main appeal is the multiplayer aspect and not so much the single player experience. The story is presented in a storyboard fashion with pictures and text providing a brief summary of events throughout the series. Some story panels look to be extracted from the anime adaptations, while others appear to be drawn specifically for the game. Certain scenarios are more fleshed out than others, and while the storyboard approach isn't my favorite way of being filled in plot-wise, it does its job to inform the player with an acceptable amount of information to continue on through the game. With the selling point being multiplayer orientated, the gameplay of Call to Exist is undoubtedly the most important aspect of the game overall. There is a decent sized roster of characters ranging from the investigators of the original series to newer characters like Toru Mutsuki. The developers did a great job in capturing the feel of each character so that they can feel unique when you switch between them. However, with the extremely limited moveset, mastery of said characters simply boils down to spamming their most effective move. Each character has their own signature special move, as well as a hyper mode in which their stats temporarily are boosted. With the Dynasty Warriors feel in terms of gameplay in the story, majority of it boils down to running from point A to point B. While it seems totally brain dead, the boss fights in the game can actually be quite fun. But with no real penalty for dying, the focus to stay alive isn't that big of a deal, which is a bummer as the boss fights is where the single player mode shines. Some. If each character was given another ability or two, I feel as though their representation in the game would have felt a lot more fulfilling. With Call to Exist trying to cover the entire series, its pacing can be a bit strange. Each main scenario also provides optional scenarios that show the main scenario from a different perspective, which really helps to answer some questions a player might have. Unfortunately, the execution of the optional scenarios leaves much to be desired due to their inherent lack of creativity. At times, it is literally going backwards from the original scenario in which you go from point B to point A with just a different character. With so much switching between characters, it's difficult to really sink into the scenarios. The maps in each scenario are satisfactory, but while not necessary, incorporating hidden collectibles such as costumes, dialogue, or even additional scenarios would have really given the story stages the added depth they needed in terms of replayability. From a multiplayer aspect, while there are plenty of map choices, most carry the same feeling throughout all of them. Certain characters maintain a distance of superiority versus others, essentially rendering the worst characters useless. With more abilities, unique map designs, and slight tweaks to the objectives, Call to Exist would have gone from palatable to delectable for those seeking a gratifying Tokyo Ghoul experience. The game in itself is constructed well, and my overall personal experience with the game was better than I had originally anticipated. But as a big fan of the series, my opinion may differ from others. The game in itself reeks massive amounts of potential, and with a little bit more production and development time, it could have been much more than just an average experience. If you can get this game for cheap and enjoy the Tokyo Ghoul series, I would say it's worth it, but I would honestly not pay retail for it though. Thank you guys so much for watching though. That was my take on the Tokyo Ghoul Call to Exist. Feel free to leave in the comments below about what you guys thought about the game. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, see ya.